G'day there guys, lobsters have blue blood. It's Marky here and welcome back to another episode of r/relationship advice. I do hope you enjoyed today's bloody good content, and if you do, thank you. With that said, I want you to sit back, relax, chuck a prawn to the barbie. Let's get right into it. Cheers.
Am I the asshole for telling my coworker he should teach his daughter tact? I, 32 female, work in an office with my coworker Ken, 40 male, who has a daughter Esme, 15 female. Ken and I are friendly. We've worked together for a few years now, and over the last year maybe, I've been trying to open the door with something romantic. I was being very obvious, but it never went anywhere, and I thought that it was because he was clueless. A few weeks ago, Esme came with Ken's dad to bring lunch to Ken. It was sweet. She was polite to everyone in the office, including me. They visited for about half an hour before I went to take my lunch. I always come in and ask Ken if he wants to join me for lunch, and I knew his visitors were leaving soon, so I did the same as always. He said no, which is no big deal. Sometimes he says no, sometimes he says yes. I asked if he was sure, and he said he was. And I asked, "Are you sure you're sure?" Sort of teasingly. His daughter speaks up and said, "He said he's sure." And things got a little awkward. No one said anything, but Ken and his dad looked shocked. I said I was just asking, and she told me to take a hint, and then Ken finally told her to stop. She said, quote, "It's not my fault she doesn't understand at her big age." Oh, them some fighting words. I ended up crying. We didn't talk for a while, and I steered clear. Last week, I finally talked to him about it. He apologized, and we're a little more open about stuff. Ken hadn't dated since his divorce 11 years ago, and he didn't plan to. He said he's been happily uninvolved. After some clarification, he meant 100% completely celibate. Didn't think people did that nowadays. He's been celibate since his divorce 11 years ago, and he didn't want to change anytime soon. If ever. He told me he knows that I'm interested, but he didn't return the feelings. We were okay. It was an adult conversation, and all went well. This is where things turned sour. I told him I understood. I apologized for pushing, and I asked him why his daughter treated me the way she did. He apologized, but he said she was protective of his choices. She knew that he was not interested in anyone, and he had expressed his discomfort around my flirting to his family. I told him that still wasn't validation for how she spoke to me, and that he needed to teach her tact, as ultimately, I am someone being rejected by the person I had feelings for. She should have been polite and treated me with empathy. It was like his mood changed on the spot. He starts talking about how he prides himself on being a single father and raising a strong, intelligent daughter. I apologized immediately for offending him and said I just felt that she was brash. He ended the conversation, and we haven't spoken since. I've noticed some people giving me the cold shoulder. Finally, I asked a friend what was up, and she told me that some people thought that it was wrong of me to have said that to Ken. I left it alone and figured that it would blow over, but I've had this nagging stomachache since then. I think part of me is looking for reassurance, or maybe just laying it out in front of me to clear my head. I think I just needed an outside perspective. In the comments, CalicMac says, "Your description of your actions was actually uncomfortable to read. He's clearly indicated that he was not interested in a romantic relationship with you, yet you were pushy about going to lunch during a time that he was focusing on a family visit. Your comments about his daughter were icing on the cake relative to being rude and dismissive. You're the asshole. Your actions are the literal textbook definition of harassment. You engaged in a course of conduct that you knew or ought to have known was unwelcome. You flirted in a very obvious way, in your own words, for over a year. The fact that he never specifically told you to stop was not a green light to keep going. Then you interrupted him when he had guests, didn't take no for an answer, and were incredibly rude to someone who had been far too kind to you already. The only person who messed up here is you. Stop making things awkward at work and do better. Yes, you're the asshole. Criticizing someone's teenage child was petty and offensive. She didn't say anything wrong, considering she already knew your advances make her dad uncomfortable, and she just said exactly what she saw. You did need to get the hint already. And honestly, you should have picked up by now, or at least left the ball in his court. If you're always asking someone to hang out, even if you break them down enough to give in now and then, if they don't ask you in close to equal amounts, then leave them alone. Yeah, I was gonna say, damn, if this is like brash behavior from this girl, then like, try being a guy talking to any girl at the clubs here in Australia. If that was a brash putdown, that's a very comfortable existence that OP lives in. Because damn, you will get humbled real quick if you just try and approach women, or a group of women, where they're not into you, and the friends are very much on their side. And I say that this is relevant in this case because she's obviously trying to date him. If I'm going up to someone at the clubs, I'm obviously interested in them. I agree with the comments, this is textbook harassment. And she should have got the hint the first time around a year ago. Obviously, if the genders were reversed in this situation, it would look even worse. But that's besides the point. It's bad behavior from her. She is completely self-unaware, and maybe needs to reflect on this behavior as to why she's been single for so long. And now, on to the update. Hi everyone. So I've accepted my ruling. I feel silly in hindsight that it took me so long to realize it, and I'm literally sitting at my desk feeling like an idiot right now. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't surprised by so many people saying that I was the asshole at first, but after reading the comments and rereading my post, you got me. I'm not one to fight for my life in the comments, but I was tempted. In hindsight though, yeah, I was an asshole, and a dumb one at that. Concerning Ken specifically, and my feelings for him, I'm realizing I was sort of dumb anyway. The thing with Ken is that he's very handsome, and I don't think he realizes how handsome he is. But I also don't think he cares at all. That was an attractive trait, but I think that knowing that should have been my first hint that he wasn't interested in dating. Also, Ken keeps to himself. He's very reserved. He doesn't go out for drinks with the office, or any stuff like that. It was a stupid thing for me to go after a coworker in the first place, but for me to go after the hermit coworker, who was a devoted single father, was probably even stupider. I wanted to clear some stuff up. Full disclosure, I was ultimately the reason that this conversation got around the office because I told a few people about it and things spread. Ken is a gentle, like Clark Kent kind of guy, and everyone likes him, so when anyone hears anything bad about him, an angry mob forms. Another thing, his daughter is really polite, all things considered. She's really shy and quiet, but she is very friendly. All of the older ladies in the office adore her. She's one of those types. Ken did correct her when she commented, along the lines of, "Esme, that was uncalled for. Knock it off," or something. And she did say sorry right away. I'd never heard her speak so confidently about something as she did when protecting her dad. I feel bad now, as I'm looking back at it. I'm sure it's uncomfortable for her on a lot of levels. She's got a point. At my big age, I should probably get it together. Lastly, I am not neurodivergent. At the risk of sounding like a jerk, I'm just not used to being rejected. Frankly, I've never been in a situation where a man I wanted didn't want me back. I figured he was either oblivious or awkward, but clearly he was just uninterested. Who knew? Everyone but me, apparently. Anyway, thank you for putting me in my place and helping me see what is in front of my face anyway. I have no idea how I'm going to fix it, but at least I can see now that I was definitely in the wrong. In the comments, kudos for knowing how to humbly accept the verdict, OP. Live and learn. OP replies, live and learn indeed. It wasn't pleasant, but at least I can say I grew over the last few hours. Glad to see this healthy response. Hopefully Ken receives your apology as gracefully as you have accepted your verdict. OP says, thank you. Despite sounding crazy in my post, therapy did teach me something. Martinism Murder says, I'd recommend revisiting therapy. And I'm not saying this to be rude. You need to work on respecting boundaries and your interpersonal communication skills. Through your words and actions, you created a hostile work environment for your coworker. You will be fortunate if HR does not get involved, since other people have become involved as well. Leaving out how she was the one spreading rumors about herself, and how the dad did correct his child in the moment? Oof. That's the part that got me as well. Not only did she fuck up the vibe with the guy, but she went on to tell everyone what she did to fuck up the vibe with the whole office. Had she not posted this and received her well-deserving dressing down, the next logical step would have been her going to HR to tell them how the situation made her feel and getting fired instead of pitied. Okay, OP was the asshole, but oh my god, the mortification would haunt me for years and years. The second he said he told his family about her flirting and that he was uncomfortable, I would have just wanted to vanish. Good God. So I was sexually harassing my coworker. Why wasn't his daughter nice to me when she told me to stop? Lol, did I sum that up? Oh no, you missed the part where she is the reason the rumors spread, because she wanted to gossip about his daughter and the other working adults were able to see how OP was behaving. It's all just so incredibly cringe, but I don't want to look away. There is absolutely a universe where she didn't come to Reddit to assess the situation and she did get fired, and that is so funny. Am I wrong to say that she deserves to be fired even now for the damage that she has caused? It's really only because an external force has come in and changed her mind here, that being Reddit. I do wonder if he has a case to go to HR anyway and get OP fired. That would be a wonderful second update that I know is not going to come, but it would be the cherry on top for this r/OhNoConsequences little saga there. Our next post is by user alarmingtap1774throw, and it's titled, "Am I the asshole for refusing to go to my sister-in-law's baby shower and the rest of the family is following?" So this started soon after my brother married Ruby. At the time, everyone seemed to really like her, and my oldest sister and I were a part of her bridal party. Her wedding was around 5 years ago. Soon, they were talking about trying for kids, and they were struggling with infertility issues. Ruby was quite upset, but it got a lot worse when my older sister, she was 26 at the time, got pregnant. Ruby was snappish and mean to my oldest sister, and people tried to be very mindful since she was struggling. When the baby was born, Ruby didn't send anything. I got pregnant my senior year of college. It was an oops baby, and I only told my mum because I was unsure what to do. I was a heavy drinker at family events, and when I wasn't drinking, my grandma joked I must be pregnant, and my face gave it away. That's how it came out. I didn't plan to tell my family like that. Ruby, in short, lost her shit at me. She yelled at me about how I don't deserve a kid and called me a lot of names. My mum tried to make her stop, but she yelled at her also and told my mum that she deserved the stillbirth that she had. The whole thing was horrible. When I gave birth and I posted pictures online, she made a post saying some people don't deserve kids. She has not apologized. The issue is that Ruby is pregnant and she's having her baby shower. All the women in the family got an invite. I talked to my mum about it and decided not to go. My mum's also not going, and everyone seems to be following my lead on this. We all RSVP'd no, and my brother called me asking me to come. I told him no, and it started an argument. He says his wife has been crying about being hated by the family and wants everyone to make up. I told him that isn't my problem, and that this is her fault. He wants me to suck it up and come still, and has texted me multiple times about it. I know if I don't go, then no one else will, especially since my mother hates Ruby after that argument. Edit, because people asked, no, we probably won't have a relationship with the baby if nothing changes. I already don't allow my kid near her. I have a strict, if you're a dick to me, you don't get access to my kids. Sister has the same. Mum probably will not be a grandparent to the child either. She will not put up with someone she hates to have access to a kid. She's not that type of person. In the comments, she told your mum that she deserved a stillbirth and said you didn't deserve your child. She can cry about family support all she wants, but you don't owe her your presence. Certainly not without a sincere apology in person or over the phone, not via text or through the brother, and not a group apology. This situation requires that each person gets an individual apology, not the asshole. Even the most sincere apology cannot fix this. Ruby is a narcissist, finally showing her colors, and she will do this again. I saw it to my ex-daughter-in-law. Sweet and loving 1 minute, and then the devil within jumps out. Narcs think that they're entitled to everything, and everyone else is against them. Stay away from her. An apology can fix it, but it's not a one-and-done thing. You don't go, sorry, Now give me presents. It would be, sorry, I understand, and I hope one day we can be family again, and then live by that apology. Not the asshole. What did your brother get for you and your sister when your babies were born? He doesn't get a free pass because of his gender. His wife treated both of you awfully and never apologized or made amends. OP says, my brother congratulated us in private. It was really clear this was only from him because she was making remarks in person, before oldest sister's birth, and online with me. Well, when his child is born, you can offer them a congratulations also. You don't have to go to the shower to fawn over her and her pregnancy. Yeah, fuck that. If someone was this cruel to my mother or myself, I'd never show up for them again. And think about how the brother must have felt. Hearing his own wife say that to his mother may not be divorce territory, but damn does it feel close. If nothing else, he should have put his fucking foot down and had the wife start therapy. But instead, he's bending over backwards to make her feel all sunshine and rainbows. You can't have a bully without the enabling. I always wonder if people like him are aware of the choices they have to make in order to have things be right again, but they're just intentionally choosing not to do it. Like, surely he knows he does have to put his fucking foot down. He does have to force his wife into therapy. He needs to lay down, like, extremely harsh ultimatums if he wants things to come back to how they were before. Is he just scared of his wife? Is he too much of a pussy himself to confront everyone else in this situation and be like, I messed up by not doing anything about her? Because really, it seems like it's a place of fear and cowardice from him. Especially with the guilt trips being like, no, please, you need to come. You need to come to the baby shower, please. I know this is like an OhNoConsequences kind of situation, but I genuinely hope that he divorces her. I do. She is a vile and disgusting person for ever thinking that. She deserves the worst. I hope he divorces her and goes for full custody and she gets every second weekend. That would be karma in this situation. If she is so hell-bent on these people not deserving the children that they were blessed with, I think it'd only be fair if the pendulum swings back her way. Obviously, that's a hideous and extreme thing to say, but really, I just get such bad vibes from her. Is she going to be good with these kids at all? If she has, like, such a chip on her shoulder, is that any environment for these kids to be raised in? I don't know. Our next post is by user throwrareunitefamily, and it's titled, My fiancé's estranged family reached out and asked me to help them fix their relationship with him. Me, 28 female, and my fiancé, 34 male, have been together for 4 years now. He was in a previous marriage before we met that ended in divorce because his ex-wife had a long-term affair. During their marriage, my fiancé was diagnosed with cancer and went through a very tough battle. During that time, his family found out that his wife was cheating on him through a third party, but they didn't tell him because he was very sick. They basically hid the truth from him and let his ex-wife be around him. My fiancé thankfully won his battle, and towards the middle of his recovery, his ex-wife came clean because she felt guilty. She told him that she wanted to come clean before, but his family convinced her to keep quiet for his sake. My fiancé felt betrayed by both his wife and family. When he got better, he divorced and eventually moved away from the city that he, his ex-wife, and his family lived in. He very rarely speaks to his family, maybe 2 to 3 times a year, and they tend to be very short and superficial conversations. His relationship with his family is very strained and practically non-existent. I've never met any of his family members for the entire time we've been together. They haven't come to visit, and he hasn't gone to visit them. Today, I received a message on Facebook from what seems to be his older sister. I have no idea how she found me, but she seems to know about my fiancé and I being engaged. Long story short, she asked if I could help reunite my fiancé and his family. She talked about them maybe flying to our city and asked if I could somehow get my fiancé to meet them. I haven't responded to her, and I don't know if I should. She explained why they didn't tell him about his cheating wife. According to her, they didn't want to bring any more suffering and pain, which I somehow get. I'm not saying that I agree with what they did or would do something like that. I also very much get and respect how my fiancé feels. Even before the whole cheating thing, my fiancé said that he's had other problems with his family in the past, It seems he's always had a difficult relationship with his family. Basically, I wanted to ask, what do you guys think that I need to do? Do I try to help them, or do I just ignore his sister's message? I think that sometimes in life, we might need others to encourage us into doing something we don't want to do because it could ultimately benefit us further down the road. But at the same time, we shouldn't push/force people into just doing anything. Edit. I'm going to tell him about the message regardless. He's coming home later this evening, and that's when I'll tell him. I just wanted to beforehand get advice on whether I should encourage him to reconsider the situation if he initially says he doesn't want to do it, or should I not say anything if he says no and drop it forever? In the comments, you talk to your fiancé first and let him decide what he wants to do with his family situation. Responding to your edit, I would not try to encourage him to reconnect. His family's still going behind his back to manipulate him. This time they're using you. Per edit, just show him the messages and let him tell you how he wants to handle it. More things went on than what happened with the ex, and you don't know what they are. He lived it. He decides, and it's his family. Follow his lead and love him. Let him decide how to handle it. I haven't spoken to my mother in over 20 years, and I would be livid if my husband tried to convince me to reconsider that. And doubly so if I found out that the reason was because she wanted him to. And now, on to the update. Thanks for all the advice. I really appreciate it. I showed my fiancé the message, which is something that I was always going to do. He wasn't home when I received it, and I was waiting for him to get home. He read it, and we ended up having a long conversation after that. He told me more about his relationship with his family members. I already knew since a long time ago that his parents passed away when he was young, which made his upbringing hard. As an adult, he became the most accomplished member of his family and kind of took care and helped his siblings. I knew that they took advantage of him numerous times, and he told me a few stories in the past, but he ended up telling me other ones that made me thankful that we don't have to include them in our lives. My fiancé ended up responding to her from my account and signed the message with his name. His sister replied with a very long message, followed by an audio recording accusing me of trying to keep him away from them and calling me a selfish gold-digging bitch. My fiancé and I listened to her audio together, and he wanted to respond to her, but I convinced him that it wasn't worth it and that she probably wanted a reaction. I guess it's safe to say that I'm never meeting his family, or at least his older sister. Anyway, thanks again for the help. In the comments, well, sister sounds like a gem. Glad OP dodged that. Also, the fact that the sister's response was immediately to call OP a gold digger without any relevant prompting really shows where their motives were. It's always projection with these types. As an adult, he became the most established member of his family. That's when I knew it was about the money. I will never get the logic of going straight to insulting the person or the fiancé of the person you're trying to reconcile with. It's how they normally act when they aren't sucking up for personal gain. When they realize they aren't getting what they want through subterfuge, they lash out. I'm glad the OP had the sense to let her fiancé know and let him take the lead on what to do. It sounded like she may have tried forcing things. I guess the conversation did enough. That and the sister's response. I get the feeling that the family wants his money. I get the feeling that the family wants his money as well, because why else would they immediately lash out like that when he gets wind of what they're up to? Just soulless, evil activity from these people, and I'm glad that OP did bring it to her partner. There have been too many instances in the past, especially with goddamn r/entitled parents, where for some godforsaken reason, the writer or the writer's partner decided to go behind their partner's back and just introduce their abusers, introduce the people that OP has cut off from their life, just directly into their house. And I'll never understand it. I'll never understand why they think that is a good idea. Because as you can see, more often than not, there's just evil intent. And I'm glad that they weren't able to break through and convince OP to let them back in. Hell no, good riddance to bad trash.
G'day guys, outro Marky here. Thank you for watching the episode today. I do hope you join me for another one. If you liked it, click one on the screen right here. If you're watching on Spotify, click another episode in my profile. Thank you for sticking around to the end. See ya.